The Villa des Tivoli Garden is a 16th century villa in Tivoli near Rome. It is a masterpiece of Italian architecture and garden design, famous for its terraced hillside Italian Renaissance garden and the ingenuity of its architectural features, fountains, ornamental basins, ceilings, etc. It is an incomparable example of a 16th century Italian garden, which later had a huge influence on landscape design in Europe. It is now an Italian state museum and is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2001. The villa was commissioned by Cardinal Ippolito II d'Este, second son of Alfonso I d'Este. The Este family had been lords of Ferrara since 1393 and were famous as patrons of the arts and of the humanist scholars of the Renaissance. In the ensuing several centuries, ownership of the villa changed hands several times due to financial difficulties and high maintenance costs. In 1599, the villa was formally granted ownership back to the Este family by Pope Gregory XV. However, after 1695, the Este family was unable to support the high cost of maintenance, and the villa went into a long decline. Between 1850 and 1896, the villa was restored by Cardinal Gustav von Hohenlohe. After the First World War, the villa was acquired by the Italian state, which began a major restoration in 1922. And after the Second World War, campaigns of restoration and protection have preserved intact the famous features of the villa and gardens. Tivoli had been a popular summer residence since ancient Toman times due to its altitude, cooler temperatures, and its proximity to the Villa Hadriana, summer residence of Emperor Hadrian I. Today, the Tivoli Garden is entered from a doorway on the Piazza Trento, next to the entrance of the Church of San Maria Maggiore, and walked down to the garden level. However, in ancient times dated back to 1521, visitors arrived at the bottom of the gardens and ascended step by step to the villa, viewing the fountains and statuary. The fame and glory of the Villa d'Este was above all established by an extraordinary system of fountains. 51 fountains in Emphium, 398 spouts, 364 water jets, 64 waterfalls, and 220 basins, fed by 875 meters of canals, channels, and cascades, and all working entirely by the force of gravity, without pumps. The result was one of the finest gardens of the Renaissance. The garden and water features were admired and imitated over the next 2 centuries in gardens from Portugal to St. Petersburg. Few gardens have been painted or drawn by as many notable artists than the Villa d'Este, particularly during the Renaissance and in the 19th century. As a result, features of the garden influenced and were imitated in other gardens across Europe, from England to Russia. In the Renaissance, the garden was seen as a showcase of classical art and new technology, but by the end of the 18th century, when the garden was overgrown, it helped create the image of the picturesque romantic garden. This is the last one of my Italian travel video. Thanks for watching, and you're welcome to check out my travel channel for coverage of other countries.